Hi, this is Peggy at Headshots by Peggy, and today I have Merrick and McCartha with us. So today we're going to talk about social media and some other stuff. Basically what happened is we voted today. I know this isn't going to air until Thursday, but we voted today. And we got to talking about how much social media influences, everything. Mm-hmm. And we thought, you know what, let's talk about, in the industry, what people should, some guidelines, some tips. We're not going to tell you how to get 5 million bazillion followers. That's going to be a different video you need to watch, and I won't be the one giving it. But there are some etiquette and some rules and some things that, as an actor, you're self-employed. It's your business, so everything you do represents you.
Right. It's no question that with the advent of social media, it has been a way for people to communicate, to connect, to be visible on a global scale. And as an actor, there are certain things that we do as actors on social media that other people don't do. And there are certain guidelines that I thought we could talk about to maybe help actors know what's the right thing to do in any given situation in your career as an actor. So a lot of times I see, and we see a lot, our friends who are actors, they'll post on social media, they'll post their audition, they post they booked something, they'll post they booked this show, they'll post their headshots to get feedback from friends and other family and other industry people, and they will post their views, sometimes their political views, a lot of times. So I think we can probably start with the first, some overview about that, maybe not in detail about what it means to have a bunch of followers or large social media presence, but just some things you might want to consider when you're posting on social media, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, the, what are the other ones?
You get it, social media.
Social media. We love, I think everyone really does know that your friends and family generally support you in your career. And sometimes people will post when they have an audition. Sometimes some actors don't like posting anything about when they have an audition or when they're in something unless it actually airs. So I want you to know it's okay for you to post when you have an audition. Absolutely. I love seeing my friends say, yeah, I got an audition today. If it's just one, some people post, yeah, I got 5 auditions today. Great, doesn't matter. And I'm sure all of your friends and family that support you love to hear that you're working and progressing towards success in your career. So don't be afraid to post that you have an audition. That, I think, is totally okay. What I would caution against is posting what the audition's for at all, and especially what the role is, any of these things. These things are a no-no because these auditions are many times, they're private. They're part of a major project, an episodic or a feature film, and the creators of this project don't want people to know what the details are in their project. Some shows have running plot lines, there's murder mysteries, things like that. So posting what your role is. You want to post, hey, I'm the guy that found out Jed killed Jane on, Days of Our Lives. And it's like, you really think that that's not going to get around if you have a large social media following for that show, and it can get back to the producers and can jeopardize not just your part in that project, but perhaps your maybe a mark against you in your career. So no posting on specific things.
Yeah, I mean, in general, hey, I had an audition. Hey, I had 6 auditions today. Hey, I booked it. Details to follow. I know for you normally don't post I had an audition or I booked. You're more private as far as that goes. I think you are. I think you don't post until it airs, because there's always that time that, I won't mention names of shows, but there was a show that I absolutely loved that he booked, and he had a really sizable role on it, and I told everybody. And my sister, who is in a different time zone from me, messaged me, she said, I just watched it, he's not in it. I'm like, he's in it. And we watched it, and his elbow made...
Well, yeah, I mean,
and
that's...
so,
That's
So
what
you
I'm
have to be worried about stuff like that. Not worried, but I mean, you're conscious about that. You don't know how large your part is. You still don't know how much is going to actually make it.
Sure, and that's a lesson about posting when you book something. Absolutely. When you book a role, it's also great to say I booked a role. You know, again, not the I would avoid posting that you booked the project. I've been guilty of it. I don't, and as far as the auditions, I don't post when I have auditions as much. They used to be few and far in between. They're a lot more frequent now, you know, unless it's something that I'm super excited about, I really don't see myself posting when I have an audition. Again, I love seeing everyone tell me that they've got an audition on social media, so I'm not saying don't. For me, I just really don't do that anymore. And when I book something, it's really kind of I really don't do that anymore as well. But I do want, everyone feeling encouraged to let your friends and family and supporters know that you're progressing. You've got an audition. That's great. Have people send you those positive vibes. That's awesome. You want to go in with that confidence. That'll help you. Absolutely do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Other social media uses are for headshots, which and I've done this. We do this when I have headshots in. I'll post them on social media, and I want to show people that I got headshots for one, but I also don't mind getting feedback. Headshots is a little bit different. I mean, there's two schools of thought on the headshots on social media. Some people say, hey, you know what? Go ahead and use your friends and everyone to get a general idea of what is your best look or what your best headshot is, so you can know which ones you're more likely going to want to show to your agents or put on your casting websites. The other school of thought is, hey, they're not in the industry. What their opinion is doesn't matter. What matters is what's going to get you the most work. You might want to pay more attention to what your agent says is your best one. Don't even show your friends and family, because they're not the ones who know the industry and know what to put out there. I don't have any particular opinion on it. If you want to post your headshots just to show them, that's great. I think it's great to see people, to show people that you've got different looks or new headshots. That's fine. Whether you consider them and how you use them, I do agree that you should kind of carefully weigh the feedback that you're getting and not just take a broad vote. I've seen people do the most votes is the one I'm going to use. I would be careful of that, because your career is, not everyone understands your career the way you and your agents do.
Right, and I have a lot to say about this.
Oh yeah. Oh, and we'll talk about when you're posting headshots. That headshot is possible by this wonderful person called a photographer. That photographer doesn't mind that you post the headshots so much as they would appreciate that they get photo credit for this. Why is that, Peggy?
Well, it's called copyright laws. It's a law, and you don't have the right to just use an image. But yeah, I definitely did want to mention that when you are posting, make sure you give your photographer photo credit. It's every time you post that headshot that someone else took, you need to give them photo credit. It's a law. So, but that's not really what I wanted to really make a big point on today. Mm-hmm. What I wanted to make a big point on is oftentimes people post their headshots and ask for opinions, which I get. You're excited and you're overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God, I just got 200 pictures and I want to narrow it down to like 40 to show to my agent. What do I do? But the problem with asking your friends and family is that a lot of them, like you said, aren't in the industry. So they're going to pick the one that's a pretty picture of you, that flatters you, that makes you look beautiful or handsome, but maybe not necessarily pulls out that character that you're trying to portray. So never, ever, ever put 100% stock on what your family, because what grandma wants to put up on her wall and what your agent wants to submit are two different images.
Right.
Absolutely two different images. That's why it's important that you go to a headshot photographer versus someone that's, just has a camera or that doesn't understand headshots, but maybe they're a great professional photographer and they do other kinds of photography. Mm-hmm. Headshot photography is very specific. It's frustrating for all of us. It's frustrating for your headshot photographer because it's like, oh, we want a bright background. That's too bright. We want nothing in the background. We can't have a plain background. I mean, we all get it.
Right.
We all get it.
Yeah, we've gone over this before too about how one of the things you do that's great is you make sure you have a good idea of what their manager is looking for, what they're looking for, what what's missing in their current set of headshots that they need to either improve on or add that will enhance their ability to get out and get noticed for getting auditions. And posting your headshots on Facebook and on Instagram, a lot of actors do that. That's not a problem. Just be careful how you see that, how that feedback comes into you, and also make sure you respect your photographer, because I haven't seen it yet, but there are certain photographers who could very well be very upset and maybe even take legal action if you don't adhere to the actual law about posting their work.
Well, yeah, side note, there is, amongst professional photographers, there is a big movement for photographers to take legal action. I don't know of a photographer that would actually do that, just because the word would get around that they sued somebody.
Yeah.
But the thing is the copyright laws haven't changed in a bazillion years, and clearly the way we use images are completely different. So you do need to respect your photographer, absolutely. But also, take your opinions from friends and family with a grain of salt, and take the opinions from working actors, not just other actors, but other actors in the industry that's actually working and successful. Take their opinion above just the average person, because if you ask your friend that's actually out there working all the time and they're kind of where you want to be at your career, they probably have a good idea what is wanting. The other thing I know, when people come to me for headshots, one of the questions in my questionnaire is, do you have an agent? If so, who is it? Because I'll actually go to that agent's website and see who they represent and see what kind of headshots they like, because agents and managers have a specific look that they like to submit, a specific style. So I kind of want to know what your agent's going to be looking for. You should actually always talk to your agent and say, what are you looking for?
Yeah, absolutely.
So talking about agents, I'm going to put this back into social media.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something else you should do. Follow your agent on social media. Laugh at their goofy pictures, leave comments. It doesn't hurt. Be nice, be friendly. I mean, you like it when somebody comments on your picture and when somebody likes your picture. So take the time to see what your agent, what your manager's posting, and like it. And if they're posting that somebody else that they represent got work, make sure you say congratulations, because that puts you as the person that's hey, I'm a team player,
Yeah.
And that's seen. It's maybe people don't talk about it, but people notice it.
Yeah, it's
people
noticed.
see it.
And not every agent does have an active social media presence. My agents typically do. I probably one doesn't as much, but I always will tag or hashtag the agencies so that they know and they can see that I'm appreciative of them, especially if they give me an audition, or if I book something, or if I'm in something. I make sure that I notate my team. My team are my group of agents, my people that represent me. And agents will do that. One of my agents gives big shout outs every other week on people that have booked things. So, you want to be active in social media. You're not just showing that, you were building a following for yourself, but that you're out there. You're supporting. You're supporting not just yourself, but also your team, which includes your agency. So keep that in mind. And as far as booking, again, saying you booked it, there's one gift that just says I booked it, which is great. That's all you got to say. It's good enough. You don't really need to go. You should not go into what it is for multiple reasons. One, of course, is sometimes there is an NDA involved with the project, and they don't want anyone saying anything about the project. Also, because now, when you say you book something, your friends and your family, especially your aunt back 3,000 miles away, wants to know when they're going to see you in this movie or television program. And just be careful. As much as you love your aunt or your grandma or your cousins, you got to tell them, hey, I really can't say right now, but I'll tell you later. That's fine. So don't be afraid to say you booked something, even if it's an NDA. Saying you booked it, that's okay, unless you've kind of said that you're auditioning for an XYZ project, and then you say you booked it. Then you're now, you're really kind of, putting yourself in jeopardy. So keeping it more anonymous when you're auditioning, when you're booking, I think is something you should follow. So keep that in mind. The next step would be once you're on set. So when you're on set, you're typically, if you're on an episodic or a major film project, you're going to be around other actors. Some of them are well-known actors, and there's typically an etiquette about wanting, getting selfies. Every actor that's on this new show starting their career, you want a selfie with Robert De Niro, you want a selfie with Will Smith, you want a selfie with Angela Bassett. Of course, they're major stars, and you love them and you respect them. But you really want to gauge the situation before you approach the selfie. Some actors are not all about doing the selfie thing when they're on set. They're not all about it. I've seen most actors I've seen or worked with on major projects. They're all about the selfies. They're selfing with each other, and they're serious regular people selfing with each other and posting all the time, and that's fine. So just make sure that you find the right moment to politely ask, can I get a selfie? Do you mind if we get a selfie? And it's got to be appropriate. Never when you're in the middle of a take whip out, hey, do you mind if we get a selfie? You're going to get fired. I'll tell you that right now. If you come onto set and you see them for the first time, try not to rush up to them right away, because you see someone famous, you shouldn't rush up to them and try to get a selfie. Isn't that right?
Do you see what's happening here?
So
we were at an event, and Lily Tomlinson walked in, and I'm like, now, selfie. And he's like, just wait. I'm like, no, I'm not going to wait. Anyway.
No, yes. And again, gauge situation. In that case, poor Miss Tomlinson had an army of people, not an army, but sort of an entourage of people around her, and I wasn't going to burrow through that.
I did. I'm like, I don't care. Let's burrow through.
And she was very gracious, which is awesome. And we're at an event, and I was not at risk of getting fired from a job, thankfully. So I know when and when not to take Peggy to set with me. This is a lesson we learned with that little experience. So when you're on set, some sets are strict about no cell phones, no cell phone images. If you're the principal, meaning you're a speaking actor on the show, that rule typically applies to background who they don't trust to be responsible about posting things. But as an actor, it is in a lot of cases okay to discreetly ask that other actor, hey, you mind if we get a quick selfie? And if they say, it's okay. It doesn't mean they don't like you. It doesn't mean that they think that you're terrible. It just means that they're like, they have a policy, they don't really do it, and it's okay. But it's also okay for you to ask discreetly, unless you're given strict orders, which is rare. Typically, productions don't mind it if it's done discreetly. And there's several which we can probably show up me on set taking selfies with, great teams of actors that I'm on a show with. Another thing you can do on a set, if you want to show that you got, these are photos that you want to add to your history, your diary of your work. If it's not with that other major actor in the show, sometimes actors will get the director's chair that has a show name on the back and just take a quick photo with that on it. That's fine. That's something that I would not post at that point yet. That's something you might want to save for later, after the show airs. But it's fine to have that nice photo of you that you worked on that show, sort of documenting that. That's great.
And that's the other thing I was going to point out is, even though you do get the picture on set with, your idol or your, somebody that you look up to, or just somebody that's a big name and it's kind of cool, you might not want to post, depending on the circumstance, be conscious of the circumstance. You might not want to post that until after you air on that project. So, I know, you've been on set with a lot of people, and you don't usually post it until the time it airs. That way there's just no question about how, he's on set here, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes you just have to admire it at home alone on your cell phone until it's time to post.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I'm really squeamish about asking for the selfie. I don't know what it is with me. I don't know. I don't know why. But there was one experience I had early in my career. I worked on a show called Criminal Minds. And so the story with that is I get on set, and my scene is with Charles Gibson and Joe Mantegna on Criminal Minds on the lot. Jennifer Love Hewitt's running around somewhere. Shamar Moore's due to be on set somewhere. This is like a big climactic scene of the show. So Joe Mantegna and Charles, they're fine to take selfies. We take a great couple selfies. They're great. And but I know going on this show, new to my career, all my friends back home in Detroit were like, you better get a picture with Shamar Moore. So Shamar Moore comes on set, and I'm suddenly nervous. And I wasn't nervous at any point being on set. It was all very comfortable. But he was, I don't know, it was weird. I'm not, it's Shamar Moore. And I don't know, I was hard for me to gauge what was going to happen if I asked him for that selfie. So finally we get a moment, we're all sitting off to the side, me, Joe Mantegna, Shamar Moore sitting there looking cool as ever with the sunglasses on, kind of sitting back. And I kind of strike up a little small talk with him. And I finally say, hey, do you mind if we get a good photo? He said, yeah, sure. And so at this moment, it's happening. And suddenly I realize I don't know anyone that can there's no PA that can take a photo with me. And Joe Mantegna stands up. I say, yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, the photo of me that you're seeing right here, that's taken by Joe Mantegna on the set of Criminal Minds of me and Shamar Moore. And this is just one instance where I was trying to figure out what the etiquette is with taking selfies. So keep that in mind when you're on set, is selfies with the main stars or with people. You really want to be careful, be discreet, and not post them at that point. I would highly dissuade you from trying to post that on social media at that moment. You want to wait, hold on to that. You'll have it for your own memory for later to show your aunt later on privately. But I wouldn't post that thing right then and there.
Right, but once the project airs, then it's usually acceptable. Unless for some reason they say, yeah, but don't post this, then clearly don't post it. But
yeah,
usually once it airs, everybody's relaxed and good. And a lot of the big shows do a lot of social media, like you said, just you go to their Instagram and they're like lots of selfies and behind the scenes stuff. It's a lot more common now than it was even a year or 2 years ago. I think people are realizing the power of social media.
Yeah. One example is the show Scorpion, which is unfortunately no longer with us, but that's a huge social media show. I mean, the cast posts on social media all the time, even now. I'm so great friends with them from that show. So that's one instance where it's totally fine.
And their fans are they're crazy social media people.
They're still great. Awesome. And we really want that show back as well. So you're waiting for that because, like Peggy talked about, you never know what will happen with the final edit. It's happened to me a couple times now where I got a job on a show, I worked it, it's a great scene, I seem to really enjoy the experience, and I made the mistake of telling people that I'm going to be on this show. And when the show airs, one time I was completely edited out, and it was embarrassing. And the other time was, like Peggy said, my elbow was in the shot. It was a great scene, but for reasons of time, they couldn't have that scene in there. It was a quick scene. It wouldn't work with the timing of the flow of that show. And if that happens to you, don't worry about it. It's something that happens in the industry. Usually they give you forewarning before the show airs, so you know not to tell anyone to watch that evening. But it doesn't always happen. So yeah, be careful about posting because you want to brag that you're going to be on a show and you want people to watch, but for multiple reasons, the NDA issues, the privacy issues with the show storyline, and whether or not they're actually going to keep you in the final edit, you want to hold off on posting when you're doing a show. And
if you don't make final edit, don't be upset. Just think, hey, I can be on the show again. Cool.
True. That's one thing that's great about that is that it doesn't mean it means that you missed out on getting residuals for future episodes of that show if you're not credited on the show, which is the thing. But the casting people will know that, hey, you booked before, they hired you before, they can hire you for something else for another role. You can go back and audition for that show. So keep that in mind as well. So once you auditioned, you booked, you're on set, you know the etiquette, you know to wait, and then now you're gearing up to when the show is about to air. So again, you want to be careful with posting. You want people to know, and the shows typically don't mind when you put them on social media to get everyone excited about the show, about the episode you're in, or about the show in general. So you really want to be careful. Absolutely, I would recommend not mentioning any part of the plot line of your episode.
Yeah.
As it gets to be days before, not weeks, but days before, you might be okay to post that you're on this show if you're pretty certain you're going to be on. But again, be very careful about that. Or you might simply say, hey, you might want to watch XYZ show this Monday night. You might see a familiar face. That's totally fine to do because now you're at less risk of being wholly embarrassed about it. We do
that a lot with you. Is maybe a couple days before it airs, and I don't think they mind stuff like that because you're pumping their show. You're telling your fans, your following, hey, watch this show. Some of the people may have never watched the show until
that happens,
and then all of a sudden they're like, man, I love this show. I'm glad I watched it. I mean, when you're doing research, whenever you audition for a show, we usually watch a couple episodes, and that's usually how we found most of our favorite shows. Is you've auditioned for them, and we're like, wow, why don't we watch this? This is awesome.
That's very true. That's
so
very true.
and so you're doing that same thing for that show. You're making it, hey, I'm on this, watch it. So, but you're not giving away what you're like.
Right. You don't
I'm
give
the
that
murderer.
Part.
I'm
No. I would do that because that's
yeah.
as much as they like being on social media, those shows really don't like it when people
don't give it
upset
away.
their plot, their storyline. So once the show airs and you're on the show, you're on that episode, and everyone's, hey, I saw you on the show. Now what you got an opportunity to do is you can pull down snapshots from the video of that show to use on social media. It's totally okay at that point. Anything you've been holding back, you can let it go because the show's already aired. It's already in the public realm. You can show your selfies of you on the set, of the people that you're taking photos with. You can show screenshots of your actual footage on that show, or even video of your footage. That's totally fine. It's in the public area. So don't hesitate doing it at that point. Some people, I usually tend to wait until the show's aired before I disclose any real information about the show, other than I'll be on this show. And then I'll show the behind the scenes photos. I did that with Criminal Minds. I waited until afterwards. I waited, and it was a long wait time, like months before. So I'm sitting on this photo of me and Shamar Moore for weeks and weeks and weeks. And finally I was able to show that. And also Joe Montana, who's just an amazing person to work with, not just an amazing actor. So now that's when you're posting on your Facebooks, your Twitters, your Instagrams, your Snapchats, or whatever they are, but also for your IMDb page as an actor. So you might notice many actors now will post not just their video clip of them in that show on their IMDb page photos, but also the behind the scenes photos of them on that show. That these are times to show, just kind of show that you're a working actor. It kind of gives a little bit more depth to you and how well you get on, how well you work on set. And it just kind of gives an idea to people, because what happens with IMDb is it's the industry standard. The casting people may not look at it as much, but I think producers and directors and sometimes the executive producers, who are usually the stars of the show, will take a look and see what's on your IMDb page. They want to see that you got background, got some experience. And these are the kinds of things they don't mind seeing at all.
So seeing some fun behind the scenes,
right.
Some red carpets, some you being a cool human in the industry.
Yeah, many people use it just for headshots, which is it's great for. Absolutely, you should put your headshots on IMDb, but also putting some set photos of you behind the scenes, and photos of you, the clips of screenshots of you in that project are great for people to see. Also, the other thing that I was going to say is talking about. When you're using your IMDb page, this is a chance for you to also post the video clip as well. So not just your casting profile, but also from that show. You can post a video on there so people can see the little clip of you on that show. So keep that in mind also. And there was another thing that I wanted to discuss.
Well, we were discussing, since today is voting day, you
yes.
also mentioned about,
yes. About your
political views.
So your overall social media presence. One thing to consider is that what I do personally is I have a Facebook page that I use that is I consider my personal page. My friends, my family, my loved ones, people that I know, or even acquaintances, I'll let a friend, and that's my personal page that has my personal pictures, family photos of Peggy, and also some of my acting work as well. And then I have a separate page that is just for my acting, which has photos or clips of me on set, screenshots of projects I've done, things that relate only to acting. I do, on my personal page, will post things that are personal, political, every now and again. And I don't do it as much. I used to do it a lot. But I don't do it as much, and I want everyone to be careful with posting your strong political views on social media if you're an actor, mainly because the industry's it's not so much that they only want people that are liberal or that show might only like people that are conservative. It's just that I think the industry doesn't like it when actors are all about their politics. You might want to think that maybe they worry that you're bringing that whole political fervor to the set, and they don't really want to disrupt their set with that. You might want to consider that, hey, you know what? They feel like, hey, you keep your political things out of social media. It should be maybe their thing. So I want to say minimize it if you can, only because sure, you want to express your freedom of speech, but also keep in mind that you're part of an industry that is in the public eye a lot, and who these people attach to their projects, they do consider all areas of that. So just be careful for sure. You've seen even recently some people in the industry and even in media have been fired or discharged or reprimanded because they have had posts of issues that they put on social media that had nothing to do with their career, but it was like this weird personal thing they were ranting about. Of course, famously, Roseanne is one of those that was absolutely inappropriate, and it's reprehensible that she even had that on a personal level, but the post on social media exposed her greatly, and that was pretty much the end of her on the show that she ran. So these are things you might want to keep in mind, is social media stuff. If you're an actor, your political views, your strong political views, you might want to kind of keep it a little toned down.
So he and I differ a little bit on this opinion.
Apparently.
So I feel like if you are given a platform, you should use your platform. I don't think you should be one of those crazy people that post hate, period, no matter which side you're on or what level it is. But I also don't think you should ever feel like you can't express your opinion because you're afraid you're not going to get hired if they find out you want to vote for more trees in LA. I don't know.
Right.
So I really believe that if you are one of the few people that are honored and blessed with a platform, which actors are, people listen to actors. You have a platform. So to go up and say, hey, be informed, vote, those are things that, you should not be ashamed to do. Hey, I feel this is wrong and this is why. It doesn't mean that you hate me if I disagree with you. It just means this is where you stand and you're using your platform. Mm-hmm. For me, I have Instagram's my big thing. I have Facebook. I have a personal Facebook and a Headshots by Peggy Facebook. Mm-hmm. That if you follow me on Facebook, I'm not very active on. Instagram, however, is kind of my social media of choice. And I have a Headshots by Peggy, which is just my work, and I don't keep up with it as much as I should. And then I have my cool page, which is, food, dogs, cats, whatever, political views. Once in a while, I try to keep Instagram a happy place.
Well, yeah.
But if there's something,
and you touched on a good point, and I would agree with you on certain things about, hey, you do have, as an actor, you're on a bigger platform, and people may pay attention mm-hmm. to you, and don't be afraid, if you feel it's socially responsible for you to speak out on something, then do that, sure. I just look at it also on another level as, if you're going to get into one of those things, you're going to post your political views. That may not be bad in itself, but what happens, and I've seen this happen with me, is I've gotten into discussions with people in the industry that I've known for a while. They're directors, they're other actors, they're people that are great crew people, and then you find out that they have these different views from you. How will you interact with them on social media about these views? How can you have a rational conversation with them, or do you go ballistic on them? These are things that now you have with that person you're interacting with, but other people are seeing how you behave in this forum. Is this what they want on their set? Do they want someone who's going to berate someone else because they oppose this? Can they have someone who can be tactful in their discussion, civil in their discussion? Because on set, that's a big concern. Is how can they? Yeah. Can
you handle somebody disagreeing with you on set?
Yeah.
And I absolutely agree with you. I think that you can say things and post things and say it and post it with love because you deeply believe it and you feel absolutely this is the best for our nation and the best for our people and the way people should act. And you can definitely post that. But you also have to realize everything you write on, even if you go back 5 minutes later and delete it, it could be screenshotted. So before you hit post, really think, how does this look? Because this can haunt you in 10 years. So make sure that everything you say is said with respect and love. I feel like we live in a time where people like to hide behind the keyboards and say just poison and hate, and that's not a good way to live. Period.
No. And as an actor, you really don't have that luxury.
You live in a fishbowl. An actor lives. You are.
Yeah.
This is the career you chose. Is to be in front of the screen, and so don't be mad when you feel like you don't have any privacy, because you don't. And that's okay. Embrace it and realize, hey, I have a lot of power. I have an amazing platform. I can show the world what an amazing, talented actor can be, and how they can be a good human being, and do things right.
Yeah. Okay, I will concede that point with you.
Yeah,
I will, absolutely. Okay. I can see that. I think I'm worried about actors that are going on there to rant. And again, you're overcome with emotion on something, you want to rant, and you can declare it as that, hey, this is a rant, I'm just frustrated with this. But to do it constantly, continually, now you're that actor that's like this ranting actor.
I had a rant a while back, and
did you?
He's like, I can't believe you did that. But I did. I was really upset about something, and it was a no makeup rant, so it was a big thing. But I don't rant often. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll open up a Word document, or I'll open up an email with no address, to send it to, and I will just get it all out. I'll write the nastiest, rant, and then I can delete it, and I will have gotten it out, but nobody saw it. And sometimes you just got to get it out.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
You just got to get it out.
That's not a bad idea.
Or sometimes I make him listen to me.
That can happen sometimes. It's part of being in a relationship. Okay, so I think that's really what we want to cover as far as your social media. At this time, there are certain deeper issues to talk about. The whole following issue, whether or not you have a large following, how that impacts your career, whether you do or you don't. Whether you are,
When are you're one of those jerks that follow and unfollow?
Well, yeah. or whether or not you're using one of those softwares to build your following, and how that actually can impact your relationship with actors if you are unaware that tool is doing that to them. So just that's another conversation. But as far as you posting on social media, I just want you to just keep in mind that it does matter. Like, your vote matters. Things you do in the public eye will matter as an actor. And you just want to be thoughtful about what you're doing out there on the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the Snapchats.
And realize it's fun. I mean, it's meant to be fun. Laugh. Make it fun. I mean,
Yeah, I
have
agree.
fun.
I agree.
All right, guys. Well, I know you enjoyed it, because I always get so much feedback when I get him talked into coming on with me. So.
Yeah, feel free to post questions on this video. I would not mind at all if you have questions for me, addressed to me specifically, to answer your questions about social media and this topic or anything like that. I'd be happy to.
Also, make sure that you share this video all over the place. Leave tons of comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. Make sure you run over to Instagram, Facebook, follow us on all of our social media. Neither one of us are big Twitter people. I mean, we both have a presence. I know I automatically tweet things that I Facebook, but I do try to stop in Twitter and say hi. But I'm not there as much as I should be. But anyway, follow us on all of our social media. Go to my YouTube channel. I know you're probably watching this on Facebook. This is the most spread out place that this video goes, is through a upload on Facebook. But jump over to YouTube, follow me, click the little button, because I do upload videos that don't make it to Facebook. So that way you won't miss any of my awesome videos.
What's your handle for the Facebook and the Instagram?
Headshots by Peggy.
Both of them?
Headshots by Peggy.
All right, well, mine.
And YouTube is Headshots by Peggy.
So mine on Facebook for just my acting is going to be Merrick McCartha, the actor, and on Instagram it's just Merrick, the actor. And then you'll see things that I've done, commercials, film projects, television projects, and some events that we attend together. It's all on there as well.
And we're not going to talk about how important it is to go to events, because you've heard me talk about how important networking is. But that's something we didn't talk about, is when you're at these networking things, those are absolutely time for tons of selfies, tons of social media. That lets people know, hey, you're out at these cool events, you're doing things, you're active in the community. So that is absolutely the time to run into famous actors and take selfies.
Yes, and then you can post them immediately, right then. That's right. That's
and
fine.
So that is a great, do that. Do that.
Do that.
Do that.
Please do that. Fine to do that.
All right, guys. Most importantly, have an amazing week, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for coming on.